been tiasie, but omumbusa. So be a casa okoto petrol bia o toilet bia the 1 cedi atoso. Nana mi busa sa 1 cedi no. You bu 1 liter more no wetua 1 cedi no. You bu another liter more no wetua. I mean information no enya papa. Ebi dum kura se be ma petrol no bo aye den. Afi petrol no mo mfoma na eba. Me car kitikiti bia ya mi so I will feel at 3200. Na bo de. Say 1,009 straight up. Come baby.
Almost half.
Because Saturday 25 or something Ghana cedis na basa. Is even ton 12.
Yes.
Even ton o costa oil say o ton say 11 BB. From bana eba. Let me jump now.
Yeah, Captain, I mentioned for na menkasa. You see politics na no ma yankasa home, but we've gotten to a point the level of misinformation are heightened within the political space, a particular intent and purposes, because politics na me opposition media ne say me say wa ban no me so me ba power so very often the real issues are end up in a collective welfare we tend to overlook it. And for me, I think say because the various actors are almost painted this negativity, this kind of misinformation around, and are people who are privy to the realities in this whole thing. I started here, obviously I introduced D levy. Obviously I introduced E levy. Any E levy comparison then as for the truth of the matter and say I buy any introduce any new levy anywhere. That is a palpable falsehood. Man for nam mutugu. I buy any introduce any levy. But what it means, Captain, what's the ESLA? Offer ESLA tax components, and about 6 tax components. Energy sector debt, recovery, that particular tax handle, in the past, now, auto petrol, utia 0.95, auto diesel, utia 0.93. So that particular way now, I buy at the 1 cedi, I can't say at the end of home. I'm going to move up on the so, and yes, the D levy about, and I say E levy about. So, when you listen to various media platforms and people are banding this misinformation around, sometimes you begin to wonder. And then, maybe as I never know, course of various social media platforms. If you want to do podcasts and those kind of stuff, I see comedy or music or I don't know, you don't need to think deeper to do. But when it comes to politics, if you really want to do podcasts, politics are. You should pause, read, understand, get your fact right. Because politics, no matter, is a very complex realm. You need to read and understand. But it's so very shameful when you don't understand something. Now I got a camera now to now people are trying to do comparison between E-levy and then this 1 cedi that has been introduced. How on your right senses and I would introduce 1% to your friends at 1 cedi. Captain, 1 cedi is a flat rate across board, but you can't 1% depending on the amount of money involved.
Honorable Kwabena Kando quickly on the nurses issues, now yaba afeyato asofri ho. All right.
I want to avoid the economic slippages that led to the hardship in the recent past. Government commits to continue to engage with the nurses in order to achieve a mutually acceptable outcome in the interest of the public. While working around the clock to resolve the impasse, the Ministry of Health has taken the following steps to mitigate the suffering of Ghanaian patients unduly affected by the strike. The Ministry will in the next few minutes publish a comprehensive list of facilities to complement facilities where nursing services are lacking and where patients can seek health care. Given the urgency of the situation and suffering of the patients, government appeals to public-spirited retired nurses and midwives to volunteer their services for a brief period pending the resolution of the impasse. We further express our deep appreciation to practicing nurses who have opted to remain at post to help suffering patients and urge others to show similar fellow feeling and assist our ailing compatriots, even as efforts are made to address their concerns. In conclusion, government reiterates its commitment to dialogue with the GRMA with a view to resolving this impasse for full nursing services to be restored. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. You may have heard him speak about the implications for the national budget in the event that the conditions of service as they exist are implemented immediately. To shed further light on that, I would invite to the microphone the Honorable Thomas Ampim, who is Deputy Minister for Finance. Thank you very much.
Good morning. We've all heard the Minister for Health, and from the Ministry of Finance, we want to show our commitment to help in resolving this important issue, because our nurses are very, very critical to healthcare delivery, and we appreciate what they do. But the reality is that we have over 120,000 nurses, and the implementation of the current condition of service that they are demanding will have serious consequences for the budget. In fact, if we fully implement it, we are going to add in excess of 2 billion cedis to the compensation budget. We have all committed that in our resolve to reset the economy of this country, we must maintain a 1.5% primary balance surplus every year in order to bring our debt levels to sustainable levels. And so it is important for us to manage expenditure. And so we want to appeal to our revered nurses that we are willing to negotiate, to sit with them and the Ministry of Health to agree on a roadmap that will help us incorporate what can be accommodated in the budget for next year. And we believe that they have all seen the hard work we are all doing to manage the economy better. We want to appeal to them that they should let us sit down and discuss what can be accommodated so that we can all have a win-win situation for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Minister. The floor is now open for any questions that may be agitating your mind on this particular issue. Please raise your hand. I will acknowledge you, and then you ask the question. Yes, Kamala.
The nurses say that they started the engagement way ahead of March, where the budget got kicked in, and then the assurance they had from the Ministry of Health was to the effect that their concerns or their conditions of service would be captured in there. They now say that it's out of bad faith that you have not captured it in the budget, and you are now referring to a possible implementation of 2026. Would the government then be willing to pay the arrears that they may be foreseeing?
All right. Any other question, please? I just want to take all the questions so that they answer it.
Okay.
In composite.
Yes. Okay. My name is Maxwell. I work with Joy FM and Enjoy News. My question is, I'd want to find out, would you describe this as an ambush, or was it something that government anticipated? I'm asking because during the transition period, I know there were many discussions, and one of the important components of those discussions was in the health sector. Did government anticipate this? Would you describe it as an ambush? What would you describe it to be, and where do we go from here? Thank you.
All right, so the minister made mention that government is going to outline some facilities that nurses could volunteer their services, and then the retired nurses should also come and support. How long are we looking at?
If I may clarify that, he said that he was going to publish a list of healthcare facilities that will complement existing healthcare facilities where this strike action has taken place. So that is what he said he would publish. The call on retired and voluntary, retired nurses and midwives is for them to assist at the places where the strike action has taken impact. So that is a clarity that needs to be brought. But I would invite the Deputy Finance Minister to speak to the bit about negotiations that may have taken place in March, as you say, and what can be done going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I don't want to describe any act as an ambush or any deliberate attempt at government or whatever. I think that our nurses are pushing for what they want. It is for us as government to also look at what can be accommodated within the budget. And you will all appreciate the fact that it's a new government that took over, and we have been confronted with many, many, many things. We have to balance everything and ensure that the economy is not thrown out of gear. We have a lot of debt that we need to, we have been confronted with. And so, in as much as I appreciate what our nurses do and what they are demanding, we also want them to have faith in the current administration that we mean well, and we are committed to ensure that we have a fair wage for what they do for all of us. And so let us not describe their action in any way that will mar our attempt to resolve this issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll draw down the curtains here, except to add that government doors are open to, well, those are matters that can be looked at once people sit around the table for discussions to be had. So the invitation to members of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association still stands. And then, all right, so the Health Minister would want to make some concluding comments on the matter.
Yeah, thank you very much. And as a mother ministry, we want to still appeal to our, brothers and sisters who are nurses to come around the table so that we have lasting solution to this matter. And I can assure them that as a ministry, as their mother ministry, we are the best people to pursue their interest, and we are committed in doing so. Thank you.
So thank you all for coming. See you another time.
Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Finance now to say more addressing the press on the striking issues and all of our dear nurses and no one some no ewo but the no so ti ma me nko Ivan ho na ye ka 1cedis abeda petrol ne diesel so sala me kana obeti ase Ivan yenko.
So Captain, so I think before we come to nurses issue, this 1cedis thing, if we move beyond politics, now you measure into the realities and the challenges at the energy sector. Now you knew what was happening at the energy sector, but because of election, you have quite be so keep the light on just for political expediency. The very moment transition happened, John Mahama took over. We saw there were massive crack in the energy sector. Coming as a result of a legacy debt over the years. In the elsewhere John Mahama administration 2016 introduced this ESLA. The whole idea, and they say, just as Sikana, Yamfan defray most part of this whole thing. Kwabrani Timetana say at the ESLA no kosi come. So I know that don't forget all start way funding in so the amount of money as a year market to defray this legacy debt, the money didn't go. So why don't forget all start way money as a year market to so Parliament and they are pretending say they are speaking for the people of this country. Fenyo Markin and his group, they're the very people called Ken for to mortgage the ESLA. We sat here and we talk about it. So the money that was supposed to pay for the sector welfare debt, they didn't pay. So see, I'm not say the energy sector. We have a whooping debt of about $1.3 billion. I know I saddle with the energy sector. Captain, apart from that, you know, every year, because our energy mix in our home, IPPs approved MIAB and a Yankasa, but then there is a shift. First, and I work Kosombo, and the Tema account for 70% of our energy mix. Because hydro, they are top petrol. Because you use that kinetic energy that can to generate power for the hydro. But I'm saying most of the power plants in India rely on Tema. I guess 70%. You know, Tema rely on crude, a burn fossil oil. You can say oil. So what it means is that we have to buy fuel. Every single year, we are now buying spending $1.2 billion. The top fuel just to power this plant. Sabaya Ghana Benya Light. And this 1.2 billion is not factored in any of the levies that we pay. Taxes in as for auto electricity, which you can as for no. So 1.2 billion the top fuel it's not part of it. Over the years, government in the session the bottom of Kwakwisika. Nedia atosa man, but Ninja so muntia na a pale koka. So if people are complaining, I say, okay, this is what I want to do. See, you do want doom so beba because of the recklessness and the kind of way you broke. And these people know what is at the energy sector. So do we take off this 1cedi and now we introduce this 1cedi now you're making sure say at every year you bet me sika you better fuel. And the funny aspect of this whole thing is that so 1cedi now I bind that to captain the top fuel for 1 year. Because the whole amount of 1cedi for the 1 year is likely to generate 5.7 billion Ghana cedi in dollar equivalents. That is about $526 million. My catcher say you hear 1.2 billion to buy fuel at the air power plant. So this one levy na a buy will have to cough up extra cash out the back home. Over $700 million. And sana tibia masadi we are swanson to fuel. So these are the realities, and the very people who sat down watch the energy sector. Na kwanya ya fa so amanfo anya esensan contract de musika yente kroma na amanfo move a Mary plant from western region to Ashanti region. The amount of money involved okay. And all these things, the people took their cut by energy sector crisis in a car nobody paid attention to. And I can't buraka go and that's already say Yankobo, ya in Pesica and Fanto, crude and from ya power plant, Captain, or my bebo. But in the past years, NASA gas processing plants na air costs and to be invested massively in some of these. Ebianka and ya metana meduniku, your friends, cruel, your friends, Nasafor no monka. We have some reliever, so more and more people who are out there spending this whole thing. The reality of this whole issue is that it's just propaganda because we are talking about the government within 6 months. Why taxes almost bear 4 and now 3 everywhere. And no Ghana ni be that one when they are speaking, people don't talk about it because it's quite unusual. So buying by power. No, says taxes are making you misika free. No more year free. Ghana for your relief. In the conversation that is going, what will be a taxes are buying year free? Levy, anyhow, emission, several other taxes are not a good Ghana for. So I buy now, I take it away again. Over crude nankasana. Oko at the global stage now a sell $100. Your friend saying $100 per barrel, and then I drop here to almost bear 64. So there is a relief. So there is a windfall. And who say oil prices drop over from no. And because of the dollar exchange rate management now cost and also know the further relief about. So more say I buy a bed and air to Ghana for so need that analysis because in the first place, fuel now for 20 cedis, 17 cedis, and I drop here and the average is between 11 and 13. So I buy another 1cedi and beyond that, people are paying lesser, several other taxes components in account. How do any normal person on his right senses sit on TV and say, I buy a hardship a good amount for so when already about 4 taxes has been cut. You first say you scrap here through her, and at this whole thing tax now, there is a relief because price is not dropping and there is a possibility say the price will go down because me who energy commission in Krata be another bonti you can't fair rate as all things being equal. This thing is likely to drop to about 8 cedis and then as a forum. You understand? So that particular way, it is coming down a man for that particular relief. So if the argument is about reliever, obi turn 20 cedis, 17 cedis, now own 1 cedi, now we turn 11 cedis and now 12 cedis, now 1 cedi can hold. Which one and I did bed in Ghana for? Does it even make sense if it is not politics? Does it make sense? And again, Captain, So what the conversation going on? It is not as if say price na don buy extra 1 cedi dia beto so. Existing price na da ho and na buy sika na free. So there is no new addition. But revenue baby sika na ko na buy 1 Ghana cedis na free. Say be ya to pay for some of these things. So the propaganda and the misinformation and those kind of stuff, people among for them who some videos among for the levy at her. And our mother, your friends say levy at her. There is no levy because there is no introduction of a new levy. It's just an addition. Abanya introduce any levy anywhere as a standard. There is 0.5, 0.93. Then 1 cedi has been added. So there is no new tax. So it is out of ignorance. And the levy has been introduced. And again, when we say 1 cedi, 1% in levy, 1 cedi cannot be compared to 1%. Do you know why? Because your friends say, we transfer 2,200 Ghana and 500 million. Do you know how much that particular money is?
No, 500 Ghana.
500 Ghana. Do you know how much 1% is? And this one is 1 cedi. It doesn't matter how much you buy. It's 1 cedi. It's 1 cedi. So how do you, on your right senses, compare? Say, does it even make sense? For me, I think you see, if we want to move on as a country, energy crisis na cause no aban society na energy power na edum ko ba no one hanka. We caution government to take pragmatic measures to ensure say Ghana will have a stable light because by we see no you cannot do without that particular energy sector. And whatever that it takes just to ensure say you ever bring that particular sector to life, that is what we need to do. And if these efforts are being started by government just to ensure that we stabilize the power, we only have concern when they take the money and at the end of the day you don't see anything. You understand? For that one, we will come here and ask government why they are introducing new taxes. And Captain, on any day, I will never come here and defend 1 Ghana cedi when the price is not sinking in 17 cedis. What I say? Because the whole conversation and the politics we do is to buy relief for the average and ordinary Ghanaian. So if there is a deduction of about 4 cedis, free so Ghana need a relief. Other people are also feeling say yentity fuel ne other way so. But now no matter I say drivers and as for someone here because 1 cedi abantino or demonstrate. Me say what kind of nonsense is this? Because who turn the 17 cedis now who turn the 13 cedis the 1 cedi on it 1 year demonstration government taking 1 cedi out of it that money that is being taken as the existing price in a buying air 1 cedi free. Does it even make sense to say your friend say 1 cedi about also and who turn the 17 cedis why didn't you go on demonstration? But now price now drop here. There's a possibility it will drop. But because 1 Ghana cedi within government will take to give you light and make sure that the power sector no, Sikana will buy it free. So it's not as you say you're slapping new 1 cedi on it. Existing price and I'm buying extra with that particular 1 cedi from. So what is this noise? You understand? Because maybe your driver and I'm a person I will do demonstration when it was 17 cedis. But now that the price has dropped, the price in the sign cost could do 17 cedis. I promise them, they should remove that particular 1 cedi. Because the whole essence of this thing is to ensure that Ghana need relief. But maybe your position, do you know what I would have requested for? And Kenda, you'll be asking government about sunset clause. Says Ghana, they are saying no tell when. And I give it to you and I say ABC. You understand? And these are some of the legitimate questions we opposition are. You can ask government for answers. But baby, your money it doesn't make sense. And you see, sometimes when you sit afar and you watch what is happening on the political stage now, as I'm crown crabina sabi, sometimes it's amazing. Captain, politics are growing up. DC and other form I'm telling you, people are more rising to political stage. You don't know to because these are logical sequences human beings we need to think just to ensure that power crisis you better stabilize it energy sector now way isn't it the fact that the energy sector we have about 1 billion debt when are we going to pay? Unfortunately this year the finance minister made an allocation of about 24 billion. Over the years, if we've been able to make this commitment, I am not sure what I say. And to say, one cassette you do life from an apocalypse numere, not who talk or your fans, who tia 1cedi, and this 1cedi is not across border, a who top fuel. Ubet me cassette drivers star affected passengers in as a forum. But the bottom line is that the price is now dropping from 17 down, the minimum class on motor 20. I drop it downward to 11, 12, 13 around. So if there is anything, I think the government rather deserve commendation. But the kind of nonsense that has been bandied around in the name of politics and then as a forum, don't forget, say, this is the same government that has removed about 3-4 taxes. Anaga egu Ghana fokuma no musu. Enti thereby na omonfa revenue ben omon be chichiro man no. If that is going to be the case. So for me, I think that we need to embrace it. A true point baby na say fuel prices in the cost na say then we will advocate for government say on reduce and now on inflow. And again, I think that communication on some of these things is also key. Because you see, in some government should have made a time just to explain some of these things to people. Because my cat say in politics, you don't create a vacuum. When you create a vacuum, people will fill it with cynicism and propaganda. Most of the people are here taking issue, more discussing the crowd. Some even don't even understand. They don't even know what is going on. So at the end of the day, if there is no proper information that is flowing in the system, people will make their own information. They create their own news. And people who consume news on various media platforms, they don't even understand. They don't know what is going on. What about that they hear? They swallow the hook, line, and sinker. So at the end of the day, you give currency to propagandists on various social media platforms to misinform and feed these people with utter nonsense. At the end of the day, it will go against you as a government. So I think that government will have to strengthen its communication machinery just to ensure, say, in some bar, on country Ghana for say just to distill some of this propaganda. Because in opposition, people will have time just to ensure, say, they run your government down. And for me, that is what is going to happen. And very often, Captain, no cancer, I buy my power, or be to recover to me, we are not communication or major or but you see, I dear Bakwa here in governance is communication, if you really understand it. But in Ghana, MPP happened to them when NDC was in power in 2016. John Mahama free power and son of Manfu who never be away. And the same thing is happening now. So I think that people need to look at some of these critical areas and who say governance is not about what the president will do. It is about how to communicate with people, inform them and let them know what is happening in the government. That is the most crucial part of governance. It's bigger than even what the government is doing.
I mean, I say, Lucius, where can I see from the other way?
Next for the Becca Huasem. Now, my main